here, and the way that the screen is now, I can't see everybody's faces. So if you have questions, please, you know, maybe message into chat or message to
Yeah.
Danny.
I
Um,
see all faces, so you can also wave. I see you waving.
okay.
Or you raise
Uh,
it in the chat. It's all good.
The audience that I am speaking to today, welcome. And I'm assuming that you are all Seeds members and are excited about the Seeds economy, and that you're looking for active participation and understanding, and perhaps you'll be serving significant roles as ambassadors. So I'm excited about all of that, and welcome. So I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction, and then we're going to really move into the questions and answers quickly, so that it can be dynamic and new thoughts that come up from people we can address. So I'm going to give just a little overview. I'm going to first try and share this one screen that you have all seen before, but it'll be helpful. And let's see if the screen share is working. So if are people able to see this? Okay, good. All right, all right. So I'm going to move this over here, so I'm looking at the right place. All right. So this is the token allocation. So I'm going to start with a bit of creation mythology and how seeds came to be. So, and I just learned something new about it this morning. I'm very excited. On Discord, I accidentally bumped into a picture from November 5th, 2019, and it was Franz and Raiki and Cece at a conference, and it was dated November 5th. And so that must be why the Genesis Day, or the creation day of seeds, is thought to be November 5th, 2019. When we look at the blockchain, one of the things that is central to, a really successful expression of seeds in the world, to do everything that we're imagining in regenerative transformation, is that everything needs to be transparent. Everything needs to be shared easily with everybody, and the blockchain allows that. So everything that has happened from inception till now is visible on the blockchain. Some of us are better at looking at the tools, but it's all there and it's all permanent. One of the things that happened was there was a moment in time where the actual seeds were created. That was on December 12th, 2019. So almost a year ago, the first seeds were created. And on that moment, 3.14 billion seeds were created. This table that you're seeing on the screen right now shows where those 3.14 billion seeds went on December 12th, right after they were created. So we're going to discuss it really briefly, and then we'll go into questions. So if I move my mouse, I think you can kind of see where I'm pointing, but I'm not sure. But the first thing, the citizens of seeds at that time voted to ratify this particular breakup of all of the initial 3.14 billion seeds. 35% of them, or a full 1.1 billion seeds, are allocated for campaigns. They are in an account called gift.seeds, and I think that it's a nice name for that account. These are a gift going out into the world to the people that are going to be the first people to use seeds. The question is, how do we find them, and how many seeds should go to each person relative to the goals of what we're trying to create, which is an active and vibrant circulatory economy. So if we gave one seed to 1 billion people, it would be nice, but that might not actually create the circulation that we really want to achieve. So maybe it's a better thing to give a large number of seeds to people that live near each other so that they can use it as an economy. There's all different ways to think about it. The key magical point is that there's 1.1 billion seeds that have been allocated as gifts to help bootstrap the economy, and it should go to people who are doing regenerative, joyful things in the world and will be able to circulate. So if someone is sitting on the top of a mountain by themselves and they don't have internet, giving them 1 million seeds wouldn't do very much. Okay, so that's 1.1 billion seeds. That's the first category I want to talk to. Then I will also mention that this top category does not have the word locked next to it. So what that means is that when these seeds go from this category, this account that is holding this gift, when they go to another account, a person, they can use them right away. They're in their account, they can sell them, they can buy something with them, they can use them right away. We're going to go down and look at the next one, which is called organizational partners, allies. So this is 12% of the original Genesis, or 377 million seeds. These are intended to do the same thing. All of our seeds are intended to go widely to lots of people who have aligned interests and have a desire to instantiate circulation and an active use of seeds. But these have the word locked next to them. And the intention here is to say there are many, many, many good organizations in the world that have deep values and purpose alignment with what we're creating in seeds. If we give them gifts now, then they can share those gifts with their whole community. It's a much more efficient way. If they have 1,000 people or 10,000 people in their community, if we give a gift to these alliance partners or these organizations, having them know about seeds will be a good thing for everybody. But these seeds were decided to be locked. I'll make one point right now. I was not around when all of these original decisions were being proposed and when they were voted on. So when I speak to it, I'm not giving authorship as to I know what the discussions were at the time, rather what my understanding of them is. So these are intended to be organizations that do good work and that they have many, many members that look to them for guidance. And so if this organization is been given seeds and feels enthusiastic and excited about seeds, then that will blend out to their whole community. So when people sign up on the co-op for an alliance partnership and they are granted an alliance partnership for a certain number of seeds, it goes into escrow. And the organization will get to use them after we go live in a certain delayed manner, which we'll talk about later. So the key word here is locked. The other keyword is organizational partnerships, and then it's 12%. The next category I'm going to look at is called community referrals. These are the seeds that we talk about as ambassador rewards. And these, you'll notice, are 8%, so it's 251 million seeds, and they are locked, meaning that we cannot use them until after go live when they begin to become available slowly. So when an ambassador welcomes in a new member, in my mind, the ambassador is skilled. They are passionate. They understand the vision and the purpose of seeds. They've been educated. They educated themselves. They perhaps took the formal ambassador academy. They are wonderful ambassadors. They take time and effort to welcome in people who will further grow the movement. That's my vision of what ambassadors are, and they are hugely wonderful people. But I'll mention there is nothing in the actual algorithm that gives out the 251 million seeds that requires the recipient to be anything different than just a seeds member. So if a person joins seeds and then they invite their next door neighbor to join seeds, and they don't know anything about seeds, and their next door neighbor doesn't know anything about seeds, then when the next door neighbor becomes a resident, which only takes a couple of clicks on your phone, then the person who invited them will get 750 seeds roughly immediately into the locked escrow. They did not have to take Ambassador Academy training. They did not have to know or even have a relationship to the spirit and the purpose of seeds. Everybody who invites somebody who becomes a resident gets a gift. So as the ambassador program is further developing and you're imagining what the real mature benefit of ambassadors are, you may want to review this and see if there's things that might be better designed. So we've talked about 35% up here, gifts that should flow around the world to everybody who is ready to help make the seeds regenerative transition happen. We've talked about 20% that are going to people who are helping and are aligned, but these 20% are locked until after go live. So I'd like to pause here and see if there's any immediate questions about those two parts, the 35% up here and then the 20% down here. Danny, can you facilitate? We can't hear you, Danny.
Oh, now I am sorry. I see Christoph is having a hand up. So I'm sorry because the shared screen, I cannot see everyone now. So you also have to use the chat, but I can see Christoph.
So go ahead, Christoph.
And you have to unmute yourself as well. You are muted, Christoph. You have to unmute yourself.
Maybe unmute is not available. Ah, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Yes, 2 sessions ago with Danny, we look at the design to explain the referee reward for people, and I think this design need to be modified, improved. With more explanation, like you just give us more explanation, and thank you very much. Who can improve those explanation in the game of seeds?
I agree, and I'm going to now switch the screen that I am sharing to a spreadsheet real fast, and we'll continue going. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to start sharing again. And this time it's going to be a spreadsheet. So we can just talk about this, the next thing I wanted to talk about. So can people see a spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the original plan, there had been some details left out, and it wasn't clear how the 750 reward was going to be implemented. After quite a bit of discussion, the idea that we wanted these seeds, these 251 million reward seeds, to last for a long time, we discussed what do we mean by a long time? And it's not really a number of days, it's really a number of residents that are welcomed into the ecosystem. And so in a general way of thinking, the goal, this chart starts off as the 750 seeds for each person that it becomes a resident. And then it goes down little by little so that at the end, each time a resident comes, they're getting 20 seeds to the person that invited them. And if you work through the numbers on this spreadsheet, we see that the 250 million seeds, we're going to give out about half of them in resident awards when we have our up to 2 million residents. And since we want the 250 million seeds to last a long time, the idea of this pool of seeds will start being empty after about 2 million residents. That feels good. And so we talked about what these numbers might look like, and it was set to be approximately 2 million seeds. Many people naturally think of seeds in US dollars because of the way that that people can buy seeds with US dollars. So many people think of seeds as US dollars. And so they like to ask questions like, well, if I get a 750 seed reward, how much is that worth? Well, none of these rewards can be used right now. They are for the future. They are after
Mark,
go live.
One short question. Can you make it a little bit bigger so people can read the numbers? There was a request. Can you zoom in a little bit? Yeah, thank you. Perfect.
And I'll slide this down a little bit.
Sorry for the interruption.
Thank you. Okay. So the idea here is that these seeds will last a long time, but none of these seeds are in your regular accounts right away. They're in escrow for you in the future. And so the people that are bringing in members right away, they are going to be getting 750 seeds for each resident. and then it goes down. And by the time we get to 200,000 residents, then the reward will be 125 seeds. Since we right now only have 100 residents, we are barely at the beginning of this journey. So for all intents and purposes, for the next phase of this journey, the seeds reward will be pretty good numbers up in this area. And what that means is that in the future, when we go live, and those seeds start becoming available to you, if you've earned 750 seeds because you welcomed in an early resident, that reward will be quite valuable if seeds are worth $1. But if you brought in a resident number 1,500,000, that's not as important for the growth of the seeds ecosystem. And so the gift that you will have is 20 seeds. But if seeds are worth $1, it's still $20 of value that you will find coming out of escrow for your efforts. So this chart was designed to recognize the importance of the early adoption and to reward people that are becoming ambassadors and are working hard in this early on. But I would love to tell you that I think we're going to have 200,000 residents by the end of December. That would be wonderful. I'd like to tell you we're going to have 200,000 residents at the same time that seeds are worth 10 cents or 20 cents or 50 cents. But we don't know what the journey is going to look like. And I like to think of things in the units of seeds. I prefer not to think of them in how many US dollars are they worth. And so this is saying that the people that invite the first 200,000 members who become residents, they're important and we want to honor them for arriving early and helping create the journey. I'm going to point out just quickly, there's a similar chart for citizens. I will show it to you quickly. So when someone becomes a citizen, then the reward starts off at 1,250 seeds, and we will have enough money in this pool to get to 1 million citizens. So if we have approximately 2 million residents and half of them advance to become citizens, then at that point, the 250 million original allocation will be used up. And the seeds citizens and the whole seeds community can decide if they want to continue rewards or how they want to compensate ambassador kind of support. This is part of Bootstrap. So at the end, the person who is the 1 million member, the person who invited them will get 30 seeds, and they will have gotten probably around 20 seeds for them becoming a citizen. So a member that's around number million will be worth a reward to the person who invited them of about 50 seeds. And as I said, I like thinking about everything in seeds. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and go back to the other one for a moment. And then I will take a look at the questions, and because there's only a few more things that I want to do before we go into questions.
Yeah, are there any questions on this topic already? I can't see anything. There was not something in the chat yet, so go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about 20% and we've talked about 35%. So that's 55%, and I want to talk about the rest. So for simplicity, you may know this, you may not know this, but Seeds has an account called bank.seeds that has 20%. 628 million seeds are there, and they are locked, meaning that they're not going to be used until go live, and they are going to be used slowly after that. And it's up to the seed citizens and the evolving economic models to decide how this bank will operate. The bank serves a role that is related to injecting seeds in the economy to support them and bringing seeds back out of the economy as appropriate. The bank will likely be willing and enthusiastic about making zero interest loans to people that are doing regenerative projects. There's all kinds of roles that the bank will serve. And it's not really important at this discussion. These are things that are going to be designed and implemented as we get closer to go live. There's lots of discussions about this. The key point here is that 20% were set aside locked and for the purposes of doing banking kinds of behavior. So those are those. And I want to now talk about the final 25%. These are the seeds that are related to Haifa. So let's go back for a moment in the creation mythology. And some number of years ago, people got together and they joined in the vision to create seeds. along the way, they said we need to create tools that will help us in a decentralized way do the work of creating the tools that we want for seeds. And so they wound up not only creating the vision and the implementation of seeds that we all can use today with the passport and the light wallet and so forth, but they also created software to support their own process. And that's called the DO, the Decentralized Holonic Organism. And so many of you have learned about Haifa as a software company. And as a software company, when they got to the point of November 5th or December 12th, somewhere around that time last year, they said, we're about to create and let seeds, the baby, go off and be born and start crawling and beginning to mature. And they said, we've worked hard on this for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And a lot of brilliant and creative technology has been put into the world. And in exchange for that, we would like to be allocated 20% of the seeds as an acknowledgement, as a thank you, as a recognition for the work that had been done prior to the creation, prior to the moment that seeds was born. So 628 million seeds were set aside for that purpose, but you'll notice that they are locked. So they are in a box inside of Haifa in the escrow account where they will stay until after go live. We'll talk about that if you have specific questions, but you can think of them as being in a box, and as we go past go live and the economy is maturing into real economy in the world, then little by little those seeds transition from escrow seeds that are locked into liquid seeds. All locked seeds transition in the same way, and it's all part of what's known as the harvest protocol. Planted seeds transition in a similar way. So a harvest protocol deep in the economy of how seeds operates defines the behavior of locked seeds. Now, inside of Haifa, where this box is sitting of 628 million seeds that has no name on it except for Haifa, they've started putting little names on them. And they put names on them little by little in exchange for people doing creative contributions and good work for the benefit of Haifa. And little by little, those seeds no longer are just in a big box owned by Haifa. They're still inside that big box, but they're starting to get names on them. Like, I have an account in there and I have some of seeds in there. The reason why Haifa is giving seeds, putting names on some of the seeds inside these accounts is because people are continuing to do work and they are deferring their compensation. So when they say, I'm going to do this work, but I'm not going to get paid now, would you please put my name on some of the seeds inside the box? There's algorithms and there's mathematics and all of that. And as Raiki and many of you have seen in the conversations, there are right now about 80% of the seeds in the box have names on them. And people are thinking that maybe we put names on the seeds too fast. And maybe the seeds, we need to clarify who is Haifa and how do they own the seeds, this box anyway. And so there's discussions that are very appropriate going on in Haifa, and many of you are engaged in those discussions. One of the things that you also should know is Haifa as a software company, besides building tools, also gives out tokens inside of Haifa tokens. And you can think of those as akin to shares in a regular company, although this is not a regular company, it's a decentralized group behaving together. And so those Haifa tokens are, in some sense, the union of all those Haifa tokens are the people that control and own, in some sense, these shares. These shares are being used, or these Haifa, seeds are being used also to raise actual money into Haifa so that Haifa can do the work. Not everybody is able to work for deferred compensation. Many people need to receive some money now to pay their bills. And so Haifa has also raised capital, putting names on some of these where an investor might say, I'd like to give you some money to do your great work. Would you put my name on some of these deferred seeds? So that is a description of these 20% locked seeds. From seeds perspective, the origination of seeds authorized this. And those seeds that live in Haifa are in a box and they're controlled by Haifa. But Haifa the Haifa people are very aligned with the vision of seeds because they want it to create and happen. And the Haifa people have agreed that these will stay locked. The last part before we take questions is this 5%. So after Seeds was created and the Genesis event took place, there was only a small number of people that had the first version of the passport, which wasn't even on a mobile phone probably at that point. The mobile phone version, I think, came out in April or something. Maybe there was an early version. And Haifa, at the beginning, one of the first things they did is they said to the Seed citizens, which was not a large number of people at that time, would you like us to continue to write software and develop and support your needs? And you are authorized, because you are Seeds, you can vote to hire a different company. If you want to go out and hire another company to do your work, you can do that. The Seed citizens, being highly aligned with the Haifa people at that time, collectively voted to hire Haifa to do some additional work. And they defined in various levels of detail 4 milestones. They allocated 5% of the seeds, 157 million seeds, to be given to Haifa in 4 pieces based upon achieving results. Sometime, I can look at the date, sometime around April, Haifa came back to the Seed citizens and said, we have done our work and we believe we're at the first milestone. And the Seed citizens voted and said, we agree. And they were given 1/4 of these seeds. These seeds, you'll notice, do not have the word liquid locked next to them. They are liquid seeds. So Haifa has had 1/4 of these seeds that they could use for their needs. And the way that they used them was to sell them so that they would have more money to pay salaries. A little bit later, Haifa came to the Seed citizens and said, I believe we've made our second milestone. And they put in a campaign proposal for the second milestone. And the Seed citizens looked at that co-op proposal and they thought about it with great detail and they said, no, you did not achieve your milestone yet. And Haifa said, thank you for that governance. We're going to go back and do some extra work with that feedback. They did additional work. They came back later and said, we believe we now have achieved our second milestone. And the Seed citizens voted yes. And the second of the 4 payments came out of here. So there is an account inside of Seeds that holds the other 2 payments. It's called milestone.seeds. And half of this money is still in the Seeds aggregate treasury. Half of this was given to Haifa. Haifa, as you know, built an interface called Buy Seeds that's inside of the passport and also on the website. And inside of Buy Seeds, you can send Bitcoin or EOS and buy some seeds. The seeds that you're buying and the money that you're giving is going to Haifa, because Haifa is the only one that has seeds and has set up this relationship. And that was also approved in this token document. So when we buy seeds, the price goes up and the money is going to Haifa. And it's basically getting into other people's accounts, the portion of the seeds that were here. So I'm going to stop here and let's see where the conversation of question and answers go. But I think it was really important to look at the original 100% of the seeds, see where they are and how they were designed. And then we can all talk about where they go next and what other things happen. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, thank you so much already, Mark. It's a lot of information for everyone. So there's Esti just wrote something in the chat. So maybe Esti, you want to do the first question, and then we also have Sanjay, you can follow. And then I had some written questions in the very beginning of the chat. I can read them. Also, the people who did them can, when they're here, they can ask them. So let's start with Esti and then Sanjay. Esti, you need to unmute yourself. You're muted.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, thanks. Sorry, because there was a message that organizer disallowed this feature. Yeah, so my question may be silly, but I still can understand. So maybe you can explain to me, as, as to a grandma, what's the difference between round, milestone, and phase, and its relationship with go live data or go live event. So I can't understand for myself. Thanks.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I heard the question. The connection was a little down. So you wanted to know about the go live date and the milestones?
Milestone and phase. Phase.
Can somebody help me with the word that she's saying?
Yes.
Phase?
I wrote it in
Phase,
the
I
chat.
think.
Phase,
Milestone phase and
yeah, thanks.
the go live.
Milestone phase and the go live. Got you, phase. Got it now. Thank you, Esty. So right now, Haifa is getting ready to release a substantial body of software, updates to the passport and the light wallet. And Haifa will be able to say at that point that they believe that they're at the third milestone, and that'll be described in great detail. And so that is probably going to happen soon. And so you will see a co-op proposal that says Haifa is requesting the third milestone payment. These are the deliverables that we believe deserve that. The citizens in Seeds will talk about it, and they will vote yes or no. So the journey from the milestone payments, the fourth milestone payment is intended to be likely.
Sorry for my interruption. And round. So milestone, phase, round, and go live. So these four items. Yeah.
So the word round. So let's talk about that. So right now, when somebody goes to buy seeds, they're buying them from Haifa. And the question is what price should Haifa choose? How will Haifa decide what price to sell seeds for? So Haifa set up a table early on where they said, we're going to sell seeds in rounds. The rounds are going to be approximately 1 million seeds each. And each time Haifa sells out 1 million seeds, then the price is going to go up a little. And when people come and buy the next million seeds, the price is going to go up a little more. And the next round, it'll go up a little more. The reason why they did it this way, I believe, is connected to the way that seeds want to be spread out into the world. So they didn't want somebody to come in and say, I want to buy 50 million seeds all at once. So as you know, a citizen and a resident are allowed to buy 250,000 seeds each week. And a visitor can only buy 25,000 seeds a week. So the idea is that the seeds that are being sold will go to anybody who wants to buy them, and they're not going to disappear right away. So right now we're approximately at round 10 out of 50. It's actually 50 rounds. We're at approximately round 10, and the price of seeds is almost 2 cents each. It started off at almost 1 cent each. And so it's on a journey from 1 cent. Each time it goes up a little, and it'll eventually, once Haifa has sold all their seeds and there's no more seeds available for Haifa to sell, at that point, the price of seeds will be about 6 cents each. So we are on a journey from 1 cent to 6 cents, and we're about at 2 cents right now. The next question about go live. You had another question, but I don't remember what it was. I couldn't hear the fourth one. So let me do go live and then we'll come back. So go live is a point in time where when we view the whole economy, we can say that seeds are doing their job in the world. People are buying things with seeds. People are selling things with seeds. Regenerative activities in soil is happening with seeds. Communities are vibrant using seeds. We'll be able to see that because all the seeds transactions are on the blockchain. And so when we measure on the blockchain that there is a lot of activity and seeds is a maturing ecosystem, that will be the point that is called go live. Did that answer that question?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great.
And then
Then,
All
sorry.
right, go ahead, Danny.
No, first you. I wanted to pass over to Sanjay, otherwise, if you don't have anything to
Okay.
add then.
So real quickly, how did the 3.14 billion number come about? That's one question. And then since Haifa has like 20% stake in seeds, so one of the questions that's been lingering outside the realm of Haifa and seeds ecosystem is, oh, Haifa folks are going to make a killing because they have 20%. I mean, I realize it's decentralized, it's only 20 and not 90, you know. So just if you can clarify any thoughts on those two.
I'll be happy to. So the 3.14 billion seeds, it's just a number. They could have called it 31.4 billion seeds. It's just a number. So
Okay.
The thing that's important is the percentages. I don't know. I know that in the creation myth, numbers have power, and so they may have chosen 3.14 billion seeds because of some numerology that inspired positive joy and energy into the system. That wouldn't surprise me. That would be nice, but it's just a number. So now back to the question of 20% of the seeds. So Haifa did all of this creative work and all this inspirational work, and they spent about 3 years, I believe, doing actual computer programming. And there was somewhere between 20 and 50 people that were involved in that whole phase. And it wasn't just computer programming. It was storytelling, it was design, it was all kinds of vision and so forth. At that point, seeds were still not all that valuable. In fact, nobody knew what they were worth. They were just created. Maybe they were worth a penny. Maybe they were worth 1/1,000,000th of a penny. Nobody knows. It was just, it was the moment of creation. Haifa had spent a lot of money at that point. Most of the people that were involved were getting no salary whatsoever. Some of the people were taking a partial salary. And so money had to be spent during those times. My understanding is that during those first phases, the actual cash that they needed to spend was something about $500,000. And then there was all of the work that was done during those years that didn't get any actual money during that time. So when they sat and thought about this carefully, they said, we've created, through human effort and inspiration, we've spent X amount of dollars. We think that 20% feels like the right number. There is no right number or wrong number. And the reason why I say that is that at the beginning, you don't know what's going to happen. But if this whole experiment joyfully becomes successful and is transforming of the world, we do not have 3.14 billion seeds. We have many, many, many more seeds. And the reason is, as after the go live and the way that the harvest process works. So I just want to describe it really briefly. Imagine if we set up in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, which is a community that is looking to really use seeds for all 5,000 people that live there. And if we set up in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, all of these people are going to have some seeds to work with, and they're very excited about it. How many seeds are in Vilcabamba, Ecuador? Well, we have to kind of figure it out, and they're used to exchanging food and services using dollars, but they're going to start exchanging them with seeds. Let's say we put 5 million seeds into Vilcabamba, Ecuador, and maybe that was the right number to facilitate everything that they're doing. Well, they're not the only place on the planet. There's other places on the planet. And then here's a new one in Ibiza and maybe in Tulum and in Bali. And before you know it, you have 5 million seeds sitting in lots and lots and lots of places. But they're not just sitting in people's desk drawers and their wallets, they're actually circulating in the economy. You can imagine you might get to the point where there are other places that want to come into existence, but there's no more seeds. We don't have any more seeds to put 5 million seeds in another city, or 2 million seeds over here, or this intentional community. And so what we would say at that point is that seeds are rare. And since seeds would be rare in a supply and demand, the price of seeds would start going up, and we might have seeds turning into like a Bitcoin where it's a limited supply and it depends upon supply and demand, and it's not serving the actual regenerative renaissance. Instead, what we say is that if the price of seeds is going up, or rather, not the price of seeds, but if the circulation of seeds is finding that they need more seeds, the whole world wants to use seeds and that we need more of them, then we are going to create more seeds. And let's say we have doubled in size past go live, and we need to create a new 3.14 billion seeds. Well, at that point, the original seeds that Haifa had are not 20%, they're 10%. And let's say it doubles again, then the number of seeds that Haifa had and the people that did the original work, they have less and less as a percentage. So what do we do? The real and most important question is, when we create that next 3.14 billion seeds, where do they go? Who gets them? Do we give them to the central bank and then they give them to the big banks who give them to the rich people who buy stocks? You know, that's not what seeds is designed. And the harvest protocol and the distribution of newly created seeds is very intentional. And what it says is that we want to flow 3 billion or 1 million or whatever the harvest computation is. Each week, we're going to flow new seeds into the whole ecosystem. Where they're going to go is where seeds are being used and where new seeds need to be used. So if I have in my account 1 million seeds, and I'm living in a tiny village in Alaska, and there's nobody else nearby me that has seeds, and the only way I can use my seeds is to buy music on the internet, then my seeds are probably just going to be sitting there doing nothing. Well, since my seeds are sitting there doing nothing, when new seeds are created, I don't get any of them. The new seeds that are created go out to the world to further amplify the behavior of seeds as a living and active economic ecosystem. But there's another hugely important part, is we don't give out all the seeds at once. We don't just make everybody's wallet have more seeds if they're doing good work. A farmer, for instance, will always be circulating seeds because a farmer is always growing food and they're always selling food to their community. And then they're needing to buy seeds, buy actual seeds. They're needing to do their work. So a farmer is someone who is always going to be circulating seeds. And since local food abundance is so important to the carbon and to the health of the communities and the planet, the seeds ecosystem, if harvest, will actually feed more seeds, more value back to the farmers that are doing regenerative work on the planet and planting trees and growing food. But we don't give out all the seeds. That's the magic. So we're not going to give out all the seeds. If we decide we need, 500 million new seeds for the whole ecosystem to thrive, we're not going to just give out all 500 million new seeds. We're going to give out maybe half of those seeds to the people that are doing good work, and we're going to put the other half of the seeds back into gift.seeds so that campaigns can come along and say, I'm in a new village and I want to request seeds to do some new work. So we're going to constantly replenish the gift.seeds campaigns, both in local bioregions and also in the more global, so that all of the new seeds that are coming are going to be invested in new projects that the seed citizens say are positive for the regeneration of the planet. That is the key to the growth of the economy and to the fair redistribution of new seeds, is let the citizens decide and reward the people who are actually doing great work.
Thanks, Mark. And the 3.14 is pi, as so many people said.
I don't know if it's exactly pi when you look at all the other digits, but the first 3 digits are pi.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
So Fabi, go ahead. I saw that you were unmuted very shortly. I'm not sure whether you can speak, Fabi. Maybe then we go over to Drigo until we have figured out what's going on with Fabi, because she's in the call and she was active. I'm not sure. But Drigo, maybe you go first.
Fabi, are you there?
Sorry.
Yes, I was
There you
I
are.
just got disconnected, and apparently I missed that. It's my turn to ask the question. So it was a very bad timing. Yeah. So my question, I'm to be honest, I'm not sure which field of expertise you're in, but my question was about if you could just not quickly, but if you could point out some of the benefits or some of the things you have to take into consideration when we are talking about local currencies versus using seeds. And I do understand there's some way of still incentivizing like a local purchase with seeds. And this thought came to me also when you mentioned that Haifa has its own token as well. So there is some people wanting to create their own token, whereas I'm thinking, well, why shouldn't we just join seeds instead? And like what kind of arguments can we bring for
Okay.
this?
I will try and briefly give you some color and feedback on this. It's a very deep and detailed question, and it's being actively worked on. But if a village came together and said, we want to make seeds part of our ecosystem in a strong and deliberate way, and we want to have governance and activities of the way that we operate to be similar to the way that the DO operates, they would be aligned with the whole vision. They may, when they instantiate their DO, they have the option to create a local token. And that local token might represent ownership or some value that's specific to that local region. They also have the ability to create a voice token, which allows them to manage their governance and their voting. And they have a lot of flexibility in that. So a local token, if you're in a village someplace and you're using this local token, you'll need to know how many seeds are equal to that local token as people are coming into the community, and there's different reasons to use the local token versus seeds. And so we have a decentralized exchange that is being created right now where all of the local tokens in all of the projects around the world will be able to exchange their token for seeds, and their community will decide through supply and demand what the correct price and exchange rate is. And that makes it easy for somebody who is leaving one area where they have been very active and maybe moving to another area where seeds is the underlying currency that is more global in nature. There's also, of course, the price of a carrot might be different in Romania than it is in Ecuador, than it is in the United States. So there's issues where local currency not only supports the needs locally of keeping the economy truly local, but also supports unique differences between different implementations. So the key to this is having the ability to have a decentralized exchange that will list all of these related projects tokens. And the same thing is true for projects that come in on the side of Haifa. All of these tokens will be interchangeable.
Thank you very much. So that clarifies a lot. So actually the effort should not be to create a local token, rather it should just try to integrate it.
Yep, and some areas will want a local token and it'll make more sense, and other areas it won't. So, and the whole point is to give enormous flexibility and build the tools to allow all of this to thrive. Here we go. Do you want to go next?
Yes, I was just about to say.
Sure. Okay, so I think one of the things that people realize quite quickly is that they have to engage in transactions, right, in order for them to reach a resident or citizen status. So my question is basically, is that a part of the next milestone? And because that's the fundamental way that we're going to support this economy, right, is have an effective marketplace where people can transact goods and services. So I guess my question is that going to happen in this next milestone? What's the kind of design thinking behind it? Right now, it seems very limited. And it seems that's a really critical part of the software before we expand in order to justify also a higher price of the seeds. So that's one. And
okay.
If we have time for the second one, I haven't seen a lot of thinking on this, but I know that throughout the rounds, there's two series. of, I think, 50 million seeds each, and that'll bring us to about 50 cents. And I'm wondering what the thinking is on how to go from 50 cents to the 80 cents or to the dollar.
Okay, 2 questions. Got it. All right, so the marketplace is crucial. It's not just maybe, it is huge. It's massive. It's the most important thing of all. People need the ability to transact easily and quickly with buyers and sellers, whether it's for dinner tonight or the tomato at the farmer or the piece of digital art from an artist someplace around the world. So there are APIs that are being created right now that would allow people on websites to plug into WordPress or Wix and basically say, we accept seeds. And then it'll be up to them to decide, I'm going to sell my artwork or my whatever it is, they'll price them in seeds. And we'll also give them APIs for those that want to price them in seeds relative to an external measurement of a fiat. So those are crucial, but we also need local, and the local is not only restaurants, it's everybody in your local community, and that's the Light Wallet. So you may, I don't know if most people are start off becoming familiar with the Passport. There's another app that you can download called the Light Wallet, and the Light Wallet is more integrated to the idea of a farmer's market, restaurants, community on transactions like that. So a farmer might type into their Light Wallet, you know, I'm buying some tomatoes and cucumbers and this, and then there'll be a QR code on the Light Wallet for the merchant, and the person who is buying those tomatoes will just scan the QR code, and the seeds will go from their phone wallet into the farmer's phone wallet. So the Light Wallet and the inventory management that's related to that is all in process right now. I've been told that there's a magnificent new release of Light Wallet that is coming as part of this next milestone. And I know that in Bali, at least, there's a real enthusiasm for bootstrapping it with the Light Wallet. So maybe that's a test case, but I think it's soon. The next question. All right. So Haifa started off, as you know, they got 39 million seeds, which is 1/4 of their milestones. They got their second 39 million seeds, and that only adds up to 78 million seeds. They spent some seeds on salaries and on raising capital, but they set aside 55 million seeds for the current sale. And this current sale will bring the price from 1 cent up to about 6 cents. When the third milestone happens, there'll be another 39 million seeds that are liquid and made available into Haifa. And Haifa has a proposal to make a second round. And as you said, that second round brings the price up from where the first round ends. But also at this time, we will have the decentralized exchange where people can exchange seeds for other tokens. That'll all be operational, and we may even be able to put a stablecoin token in there. And so people will be able to buy and sell seeds with each other independent of the Haifa sale. We also, there's complexity, and I really hope that we get it done soon, but we need the ability for peer-to-peer transactions, and it needs to be done smoothly and meeting all the responsibilities, so that if I am going to a farmer's market and I want to buy some seeds, I have to be able to buy seeds from somebody and do it pretty quickly. And it can't be, it doesn't work because then I can't buy my tomatoes at the farmer's market. So we need the ability for people to be able to buy seeds and sell seeds from each other. And so we call that, it was originally called peer-to-peer fiat to seeds software. At some point it was called the ATM, like an automated teller machine. You go to the ATM and you get some seeds. And now it's being called the PTM, the peer teller machine. And it's basically each person, whether they want to buy or whether they want to sell, they go to their app, they join with another seed citizen in the world, or seeds member in the world. They can see their reputation. They can understand who they are. And they say, I'd like to buy 1,000 seeds or 100 seeds. And the other person says, okay, and send me the US dollars or the euros or whatever the other currency is with PayPal. And let's make this a safe and easy transaction. There's lots of tools like this in the world of Bitcoin transactions and everything else. None of them are smooth and simple and easy and safe. And we want ours to be really good. So I think all of these are important components. As the price of seeds is, if there are no liquid seeds out there, because Haifa has gotten its third payment, and maybe that second round of selling goes up and seeds are at 10 cents or 20 cents or 30 cents or whatever that it gets to. We need to also have connections to more mature market making and exchanges, so that then supply and demand can also help people price seeds. But we don't want the seeds to go crazy before go live. In some sense, the journey of seeds price and go live are related, because we need to be able to have the ability to do the harvest redistribution as a tool in managing the price of seeds. So there are currently only, the way that we get more liquid seeds into the world is by clever and thoughtful and beautiful people making campaigns, getting those campaigns approved. There's 5 different campaigns out there on this voting cycle, and those seeds, when campaigns are approved, they are liquid seeds in the account of the person who's doing the campaign, whether it's an organization or an individual, and that also puts more seeds out into the world, and those seeds can be exchanged through peer-to-peer or on the exchange. So if we're able to identify and give out 100 million seeds to the citizens of the world doing beautiful work on the ground, and another 100 million seeds, then we're not going to be in a problem where there are insufficient number of seeds on our journey to go live.
So I want to be mindful of the time, because Mark, we haven't spoken about how much time do you actually have. We set it to 1 hour, so I'm not sure whether you have more room.
From my perspective, I can stay for 30 more minutes if people want, but I understand other people may need to go.
Yeah, that I wanted to ask you first, and then I want to open this as everyone who wants to stay. We can go a little further. I might think there's maybe 2 to 3 more questions, but everyone else who has to jump off, thank you for coming and joining, and for sure this will be recorded and put up again, so you can also follow up later. Thanks all for your contribution with the questions and listening in and everything. So I don't know who else, because I have to follow up in the chat, but I think every question was talked about. There's a big interest for the light wallet, so as soon as there's something we can talk more about, that's of big interest for many ambassadors, especially those who are in bioregions. But I want to ask here into this round again, is there more questions? Is there anyone who wants to raise another question? Yeah, Jess, go ahead, please. We cannot hear you, Jess, darling. I don't know what's happening because you're not muted. Yep. Yeah. Now you're muted. That's funny. Now you're muted. We could hear you for a second.
Oh, it did flash up and say the host disabled it, but it worked. Okay.
Yeah.
So great, Mark. Thank you so much for this overview. Very interesting. I'm curious about the release of being able to release like another 3 billion seeds if they feel that's needed. In the Bitcoin space, you just take it down in Satoshi, so you have 1 Bitcoin, and then you start to fractal, kind of downward. And so when you talk about being a stable coin, or when you talk about exchanging value, like how do we say that something has value if all of a sudden you could just bring that much liquidity into it, and now all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe I don't understand those economics, but I always thought that the whole blockchain purpose of being able to say you have something of value is that you can't just print more like the US dollar as it's losing its value. So I'm curious if you can shed some light on that.
Okay, that's a very good question. Just Danny, if you can remind me, I'm going to do this question, but I also want to talk about ambassadors and some thoughts about the Ambassador Academy and compensation. Okay, so if we by fiat ad hoc said, if there was some group that said, I want to issue 10 billion new seeds, who would be that group? That group would come from a referendum vote of the seed citizens. It may require constitution changes and things like that. But the seeds is under the responsibility of the overall seeds community. So right now, what has been designed is mathematically follows different economic theories, but it basically says we would like it if seeds were a stable store of value. Now we know that they don't seem very stable right now because they're worth 2 cents, and then a month later they're worth 3 cents and 4 cents and 5 cents. That doesn't seem particularly stable at all. But I'm talking about the phase after go live. So imagine you're a farmer and you are used to selling, you're in Ecuador, and you're used to selling your harvest of food for the whole year and getting $10,000. That's what you're used to. And you know from all of the years you've been doing it that those $10,000 allow you to live your life and repair your house and be a thriving member of your community. And so now everybody switches to seeds. If the farmer sells all of those products and gets 10,000 seeds, and then something goes wrong and the price of seeds all of a sudden, he can't live his life anymore. Everybody says, no, you have to give me many, many more seeds to get that. I was going to sell you this chair that you need, but it's going to now cost you many, many, many more seeds. If the value of seeds are not stable, then the farmer won't be able to accept seeds. And the electrician won't be able to accept seeds. So what do we mean by stable? We don't mean the same number of US dollars because the US dollar may not be stable. What we mean is something a little bit difficult to get your hands on. It has something to do with shared agreement of value. It has something to do with perceived purchasing capacity in the economy. And the way that this is being measured right now in the definitions in the Constitution seem very thoughtful and reasonable. And what it's basically saying is that we can measure circulation, we can measure capacity load of how seeds are working in the world, and we can see where the seeds are stored. When people put them in planting, we know that those seeds are stored for a year. When the seeds are still in escrow, we can see where all the seeds are. When people take seeds off of their liquid wallets and put it maybe onto an exchange, where they're just market making with their seeds, we can see the activity of seeds in the world. And so if we can observe that thoughtfully and say, you know what, the number of seeds are insufficient for the development that's happening. There's more communities coming on in Europe, and then there's ones in Africa coming on. And these seeds, that we need more seeds to create more thriving regeneration in the world. That's really what triggers the creation of new seeds. And those seeds, as I said before, go uniformly to everywhere where there's good blood pressure of seeds, where there's good things happening. And then a big chunk of them are set aside for new campaigns to come and request them because they want to join the thriving regeneration activities. A lot of this stuff is new mathematics, new science. A lot of it is blending old ideas, whether they come from Austrian or from, Keynesian or a million other economic models. I'm having a conversation this afternoon with an economics professor that I want to get some viewpoints on. There's an amazing group. You can go and look at their website. It's r3.0. .org. I think it's R3-0 is the way they do it. But if you just Google R3.0 economy, they are developing, it's a consortium of a couple hundred economists and thinkers around the world, and they're developing new economic models of thinking about regenerative societies around the planet. And so Analos, who many of you have met, she is writing one of their new blueprints on education, and she has introduced us, so we're going to be able to share in their thought process and wisdom too. Go live is not tomorrow. We have some time to kind of see how we learn with this experiment and get feedback. And ultimately, it's up to the seed citizens through governance to submit proposals for things that will make whatever is happening even better. I do want to talk about the Ambassador Academy, the Ambassador compensation concept, but if there's other questions before I do that, let's
One
see.
more thing, maybe, because you were just talking about Go Live and how there was one question in the chat before where someone said, how will we decide, or when is it going to be decided? What is the plan when the seeds that are locked in escrow will be released? Is there any
Perfect.
plan
That's a
for
really important question. Thank you. All right. So if you remember that original table, 40% of the seeds are locked. So when we arrive at Go Live, there's 40% of 3.14 million seeds that are probably going to be in escrow and have people's names on them. And if we suddenly made them available and suddenly made them completely liquid, then that would be a lot of seeds that maybe people would want to sell, and it might disrupt the economy. So we don't want it to be a difficult a difficult moment. So one of the original ideas for that was, if you remember on your passport, it still says it, if you plant your seeds, then you're going to get a 30% bonus if you plant them, because once you get to Go Live, they're going to not unlock. They're going to stay locked for an additional year. And so there's a proposal coming out pretty soon, which is going to modify that. I believe the modification date that's going to be proposed for the seed citizens to vote is February 1st. So for all seeds that are planted prior to February 1st, once you get to Go Live, that will automatically stay locked for an additional year and give an additional 30% reward. But that is the new models that have come out about how harvest works don't need that anymore. So the way that the harvest works is, let's say we measure all the activity and all the things that are happening in the world, and we conclude this week, this happens every week, and we conclude this week that there's a need for a new, 1 million seeds or 5 million seeds, whatever the number is. So those seeds can be created by the global system and then distributed as we just talked about. But what they've decided to do is that they will create 2.5 million new seeds, and they will remove 2.5 million seeds that are eligible to leave escrow, and they'll do it uniformly across all the accounts and allow them to leave escrow. So it is kind of injecting 5 million seeds. 2.5 million seeds had kind of been locked, and so they weren't really visible, but they're becoming unlocked slowly. So if we have 40% of the entire economy locked through referrals and allies and the Haifa locks, that's 40%. Then when our economy grows from 3 billion up to 80% more, so it would be close to 6 billion, at that point, we will have created new seeds for half of it, and we will have allowed the locked seeds to be liquid. So that's the plan. It's called a slow release, kind of like when you put alfalfa meal in your farm in the soil. It releases that nitrogen slowly over a long period of time. So this is a slow release of locked seeds into the ecosystem, and that's why we don't need anymore to have the planted seeds get a 30% bonus, because all seeds are released slowly.
Great. There's one more additional to that. Stephen just raised the question, who is the they that calculate the global demand and activity and make the decisions?
That's great. There is no they. It's amazing. It is a smart contract. Now, human beings wrote the smart contract. When a smart contract is put into place, there are things called unit tests that the smart contract must pass to validate that it's computing things the way that the designers required in the Constitution. So that smart contract is run against the requirements of the Constitution to pass that it's doing its job. Then it is going to be placed into live operation, but it can't be placed into live operation by the programmer, because what if the programmer was evil? And so smart contracts are placed into live operation by a multi-sig, which requires authority of multiple people to all act together and say that this software is acceptable to be put on. That's kind of how the governance works. My guess is that as we get even more mature and more mature, will be more like EOS or Bitcoin or Ethereum, where they have a consortium of like 27 block miners that collectively have to vote and decide on something before a smart contract can be replaced. Right now, we have 3, I believe, signatures that are required to replace a smart contract. But the they is a mathematical algorithm that we believe is accurate and reliable, and it implements the decisions that the citizens have written down in their constitution.
Right. So Sven, do you want to raise your question yourself?
Yes, I would. I'm really curious to know how the token value is going to go up after Haifa sells all of its seeds. I thought Haifa had enough seeds to sell through all of the rounds in order to reach at least 80 cents a seed to $1.30. But it sounds like Haifa only will have enough tokens to sell even after completing these milestones to get the price to 6 cents or 20 cents. And so how is it going to continue to grow in value after that point? It seems like that burden is something that Haifa was carrying, but now it's going to be on the open market for individuals to decide that they're not going to sell their seeds to people that are coming into the ecosystem for less than a certain amount, or maybe there's something I'm missing there.
Whether it is Haifa selling seeds, or maybe there's a campaign that was given 10 million seeds to do some work, and they need to buy land or they need to do something. All of the seeds that are coming out of the campaign gifts total 1 billion seeds. And those 1 billion seeds, when injected into the economy, whether all billion seeds go into the economy prior to go live, or it takes half of them go in prior to go live, we hope that the seed citizens have wisdom in selecting campaigns so that those seeds will do good work in the world. But the 55 million seeds that Haifa is currently selling, and the next 39 million seeds, is a small number relative to the size of the gift economy, the gift seeds. And so what we need to do is give a process of the seeds exchange, the DEX that is being put into place now, where everyone who has seeds can simply just say, I want to sell my seeds in this manner or this manner, and seeds may even trade on other exchanges. The key point of instability that sometimes comes out in the economy when currencies are traded on large exchanges and there are potentially bad actors comes from the concept of shorting a currency or shorting a stock. There's nothing that we are going to put into place that would ever enable shorting of seeds. So that isn't something that would be disturbing the price of seeds. But if you imagine that somebody in this call, or somebody in that's currently in seeds, each week they're buying 250,000 seeds, and then they buy 250,000 more seeds, and they buy 250,000 more seeds. By the time we get to go live, or by the time Haifa sale is over, maybe they have 4 or 5 million seeds, and they're liquid seeds. And when seeds are at 20 cents, they say, I'm ready to sell them, and I'll make them available to the world. I think there will always be available liquidity during the bootstrap phase, so that we don't have to worry about that. The question is what is the price? So for the first series of cycles, Haifa has announced what the price is going to be in advance, so that there's no misunderstanding or confusion. Everybody can count on that price. That's one of the reasons why I think it's unnecessary to do a sudden jump shift to 6 cents a price that has been being discussed and so forth. I think that there's no need to make a sudden change. We've announced it, and people can rely upon it. But the price of seeds will naturally go up during this whole process if we find ourselves successfully deploying seeds into an economic thrivability in the world. That's really what generates the value of seeds, is the human belief that a seed is worth a tomato. If collectively around the world we have a human belief that a seed is worth a tomato, then it really is.
Right. It seems that having some agreement around the value of seeds, which Haifa is creating right now in the pre-go live stage, because after go live, we've got an idea of what the value is. on the market, people might ask for a little bit more, or they might ask for a little bit less in order to get a faster sale. But if the HIFA sale ends at 20 cents a seed, and say I've accumulated, I've invested, I've got a couple 100,000 seeds, and now at the local market, I'm saying, well, I'll sell my seeds. I don't want to necessarily be out there and be the one and have this burden on other people in my position to be like, well, I bought these for whatever I got them for, and now I'm selling them for 25 cents, but you might be able to go and get them on an exchange for 18 cents. And there's kind of this, it's almost like I'm trying to get a profit from really distributing my seeds out into the community to help provide seeds to more people, without there being like well, this is what the HIFA sale is, and this is what I'm selling mine at, in order to create kind of this even playing field that we're all building towards this go live event together.
I understand. Having a grandparent that says the price of seeds is this is very important and useful at the beginning. Because seeds is an infant right now. Seeds is a little baby, but seeds is going to mature, and seeds will be a child and an adolescent, and will become an adult. And during that process, facility will take place, having to do with price discovery and exchange. If you go to a thrift shop and you find an antique Tiffany lamp, and that it's worth $1,000 or $5,000, but this person's selling it for $10 because they don't know it's worth it. There's always going to be disagreements and misunderstandings and confusion as to what the value of something is. But when you have something that's uniform called a seed, and you have 1 million people using it, and you have exchanges happening in price discovery as facilitated by our own internal exchange that's being put together, we're going to go through growing pains, but we will mature into something that is reliable and stable. And that's the journey. That's where we want to be. Is that seeds is the currency that underpins a wide, massive deployment of regenerative behavior around the planet. But there are going to be growing pains. Right now, if I asked you, would you sell seeds for 1.9 cents just because the HIFA sale says that's the price? You might say no. To you, seeds are worth 20 cents or 50 cents. Or you might say, no, I'm not. To me, seeds are worth $1. That's the great part about, a collective, gathering collective information from people all around the world. So seeds is setting a current benchmark that's available for people to buy. But it's up to people to decide what they want to buy and what they want to sell. And everybody's going to have a different opinion upon it. But we will mature into something that's really great, and we'll build some great tools to help make this all transparent and flexible.
So thanks. There's a few more little questions, I know, but I want to give the last 10 minutes or 8 minutes maybe, Mark, because you said it twice yourself that you want to say something about the ambassador compensation, having in mind that we are already in the process of setting up a seeds ambassador or seeds DHO. So everybody should know that as well, but it's your floor, so please.
Okay. All right. So ambassadors, as I mentioned before, in the current implementation of the smart contracts, let's say I am not an ambassador. I'm just a person. Maybe I'm even an evil person. And I heard about seeds and I signed up. I got somebody to send me an invite, and I got somebody on Discord to vouch for me, but I'm evil. And so I then sign up my friends and my friends and my friends and my friends and my friends. And all day long, all I'm doing is signing up friends, and I'm teaching them how to become a resident. Not because I care about regeneration, not because I'm knowledgeable about why this exists, but just because I realize that I get a gift, even though it's in escrow, I get a gift of 750 seeds every time somebody turns into a resident. Now, we know they can't turn into a citizen for at least 60 days, but it's really not hard for them to turn into a citizen after 60 days either. So the smart contract as it exists right now gives the ability for people to distribute seeds out of that alliance referrals in a way that's in alignment with the whole vision, and also gives them the ability to do it in a way that's not in alignment with the whole vision. Now, I didn't know that when I first read the Constitution, when I first read about that. In fact, when I first learned about this stuff back, all of 4 months ago, I signed up on that website, joinseeds.com. There was a little button, interested in an ambassador. So I clicked on it, and I filled out a form, and hopefully somebody got that form. And I said, I want to learn about what it is to be an ambassador. There is also a document that I read at one point that talked about the journey to becoming a resident. It's not what it is right now. The journey right now is you press a couple of buttons and you're a resident in 5 minutes. The journey that I saw on a whiteboard worked out was that you learned about it. You studied, you did some things, and you were vouched for and so forth, and then you became a resident. So it required some effort. It's easy to become a visitor, but it required some effort to become a resident. And then to become a citizen, you have to get educated even more, and then you become a citizen. And the hope is that this is a self-selective process, that people won't want to do it just to get 750 tokens. And the number of tokens as we get further along the journey, as you know, goes down. But ambassadors to me is something different than just the person who happened to invite somebody. So it may be the case that the Seed citizens will revisit this and maybe even change it and think about how the 250 million seeds should be used slightly differently. But imagine you're an ambassador that is a genuine ambassador. You are a wonderful ambassador. And in fact, you went through the Ambassador Training Academy, which is being developed, and you've learned about heart and spirit and your destiny path. And you've learned about soil, and you've learned about regenerative communities and all of these things that help you be a good spokesman for seeds. You have been vetted by the Seeds Academy, and you have now a badge or a hat on that says you are a certified Seeds ambassador. Well, you may say you want to do this for your business, for your livelihood. You're not going to take a different job. This is what you want to do. And so there should be a pool of money that you would then apply to and say, I'd like a job. I know I have I got my diploma. I'd now like a job being an ambassador. And so you might say, I would like to get this many seeds a year. And I'll get this many every week, every month, or whatever. And maybe the seeds ambassador can then evaluate, all right, you're an ambassador for 3 months, and now you're asking to be an ambassador again for another 3 months and get more salary. How did you do? How can we support you so that you're more successful? So in my mind, the Ambassador Academy process has not yet been funded. And so I would imagine that the ambassador team is going to put in a campaign request to the Seeds community at some point and say, we would like X million seeds to put into an ambassador compensation pool. And we will be responsible, and we'll caretake it, and we'll be of high integrity, and we will give these as compensation to people that have been trained and are aligned and are likely to be very successful, and we'll keep tabs on it all. And then I would think the Seed citizens would clap their hands and say, this sounds wonderful. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. And since we have 1.1 billion seeds in the campaign, they will last a long time supporting really beautiful ambassador journeys into the world. And a seed that comes, a seed account that is created because of a personal relationship with a thoughtful ambassador, that new person is really part of the whole story, not somebody who just found seeds because of anything, So that's my suggestion or thoughts on the Ambassador Academy. I want it to be something wonderful. Maybe it's part of Renaissance University. I want it to be something wonderful, and I hope that the Seed citizens give funding for it so it can achieve all of the goals.
Maybe I can add on to that because as we realize that not everyone in Haifa knows what everyone in Haifa is doing. So we are actually in the movement building circle already creating this. So we are already working on a seed stove for a while, and we already are working in a universal earned income for ambassadors to doing this, or how to create quests and all these things. And what happens in Haifa Seeds very often these days is that we are on the one hand already moving forward with, for example, the academy and just onboarding people. And on the other side, we also still are developing these like frameworks and, if you want to say, campaigns or whatever you want to name it. But this is in the process, and there's a lot of really great discussions going on also with the new ambassadors and the new tribes already now, and what they think about how we should compensate or how we should, you know, co-create a seed stew. So Ricky just yesterday started a conversation after we had talked on the Discord channel around it. So it's going to happen. Everyone can set up a campaign, that's really true, but then also we need to somehow process it and structure it. And what we now try is not to have like 3 different ideas on how this should come up, but also bring this in alignment all together. So this is also part of Seeds, what I feel, that it is about coming into alignment and that we all agree on one process, how we move forward with it. So thank you, Mark, for bringing that up. And it's really a big invitation and encouragement for everyone who is in this call or might watch it later to join our, you know, progress in this. And you, as the first ambassadors in the tribes, as we always say, you're kind of our guinea pigs, because we're learning from your path and from your journey what we need to still create together, or where there's lags, or how we can support you better. So it's really important to have all your input and your feedback. And we will also do some evaluation calls in the end, and, you know, start it on the go. But yeah, please don't start creating a campaign tomorrow and this, because it's already happening.
Well, thank you everybody for your questions, and I look forward to the journey. It seems to be getting more exciting every day.
It definitely is. And maybe we will come back to you, Mark, because I feel this is just first really deep dive for everyone. And I'm so sure that there will be more questions and more ideas coming on later. So maybe we will come back to you in the new year. But really, thank you so much for even extending your time. I know you have to run now. Thank you for everyone else. And please still raise your questions in the Seeds Ambassador channel. Mark is also part of that, and we'll have a look in that. We shouldn't overwhelm everything, so maybe we will create another forum where we can collect all the numbers, but all the questions, but also the Global Ambassador call, which is happening tomorrow, and also the other sessions we will have are always a space where we can discuss topics further. So thanks so much for coming, and I wish you all a very good day, night, evening, whatever, and see you then tomorrow in the next calls.
Yay.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Mark. Awesome stuff. Bye, everyone. See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye-bye.